It's a way of actually continuing your faith throughout the week. So faith isn't just for Sundays, it's the rest of the week, and often we need encouragement. So home groups are a great way of being with like-minded people to encourage you in your faith, and to keep you focused really, and to learn, and to be surrounded by Christians who support each other.
Firstly, it makes me think about spiritual things that I wouldn't ordinarily have thought about. And because we take it in turns to prepare sessions, if it's my turn, I find I get a lot out of prepping for the sessions. Again, makes me think about my faith and where it's going. And thirdly, I like the people in my home group, and it's a nice sociable place to be, and I feel it gives me a sense of belonging.
I really enjoy meeting everybody and getting together and talking through things which maybe I want to explore a bit more than you get in church. The chance just to have a chat with people and maybe ask questions if you didn't understand something, to explore your own thoughts and have somebody, answer them, bounce your ideas off of them and see what they say.
I think it gives me the chance to meet other people within the church. So I've got to know a few other people a lot better. It's a chance to study the Bible a lot more, to delve deeper into the meaning. It's a nice network of friends.
The very first group I joined was when I first came here 40 odd years ago, and I didn't last there very long, I'm afraid. I was that much younger then, obviously, and the people, they were all very mature groups. I'm far more learned than I was, and I gave up.
We have the home group in our house, and I like to offer hospitality to other people. I feel that sharing my home is important.
I find it immensely helpful because we do different types of sessions, it broadens my understanding of what my faith is and makes me think in different directions, like when we did a course about how scientists viewed Christianity, and we talked about multiverses and things which I would never in a month of Sundays have thought about.
I'm not usually one for speaking out in groups or in front of large audiences. So in a smaller group, I feel more comfortable sharing my views and discussing things.
I've learnt a lot through the stages. Initially, when I started, I didn't know anything about the Bible. So I really have learnt a lot going to the home groups in a bit more depth. And also it's interesting to learn about other people and their take on education and the Christian education and their view on their faith as well.
Other people have different backgrounds. They've come into Christianity through different routes. It's always interesting to know why it's important to them and to compare attitudes.
Good food, really. We have great food. With our home group, it's once every 2 weeks. We start with a lovely meal, we share, we learn about what we've been doing each week. And it's that fellowship. Although we get a fellowship at church, you have a time to sit down with people as opposed to just a quick chat.
We have a chance to go a bit further into a subject than we might otherwise do in a sermon. I think also you can pick a topic that everybody finds of particular interest or maybe challenging, maybe it's relevant to something that's happening in their lives. And so we can go into it in a bit more detail than we would otherwise in the church.
And it's nice to be able to discuss in small groups, and you get quite confident about putting forward your views and asking people how they feel about it. In church, You can't do that really.
You can hear a sermon and you can have a thought, but you don't have a time for a really in-depth discussion with anybody at the service. And also, I think what's important about home groups is because you get to know people, you get to say things that because you trust them, you get to trust people, and therefore you feel comfortable about sharing things like doubts, which you wouldn't ordinarily do with a wider audience.
We pick a study guide which already has each lesson mapped out for you with passages to read and questions to discuss and prayers that you might want to look at the end, and we take it in turns to lead the evening. So somebody leads one week and then somebody else the next, and and we share the discussion, the Bible readings and everything.
Sometimes we study the Bible, a passage, usually the New Testament, and get different insights into it from learning from other people, and also from we follow a course of some kind.
We each take it in turns to lead the sessions, so it gives you a chance to research it in greater depth those weeks that you're leading it, but also the other weeks to actually think about questions you might want to ask or discuss.
We did Romans recently. I wouldn't recommend that. That was awful. It was such hard work. That was really hard. We did a lovely one on not rushing. So rushing is death of spiritual life. I thought that was fantastic. That was my favourite one. For someone who speaks too fast.
We do pray. We have a session at the end when we ask everybody if there's anything they would like prayer for, and then we have like a 10-15 minute time when people can either pray to themselves, quietly rather, or pray out aloud. So we go around and then end with a finishing prayer, the grace or whatever.
We always have a time of prayer. We might discuss things that we would like to ask the Lord for, and at the end of the session we all pray together.
It's nice to be able to pray for people in our group and people we know in the church. So, and we have done sessions specifically about prayer. I think we did the Holy Trinity HTB prayer course earlier in the year as well, when the focus was prayer.
We always start with a prayer, and of course it's important to remember any members of the group who are absent, or any who have left, or any that we know, members of our church or our families who are going through difficult times. And we always end with a prayer, or usually with the grace, which we say to one another.
We don't pray very much in our home group. We do have the grace before our meal. What we do now is we think of two people or two things we want to pray for between now and when the next home group takes place. So we pray as a group for two particular people. We focus our prayer on those.
No matter how busy you are, actually, it's a kind of a place of calm, and you can kind of gather your thoughts, and a place you can be grounded. And so I think it's really, really important to the fabric of the church that we have home groups.
Yeah, I think home groups are fantastic, and I think it's a place for people to find out maybe what their gifts are, and then to have the opportunity to try them out, whether it's leading the group or praying for other people or discovering needs, and then taking it one step further. It's a great place to have a go, so to speak.
I definitely recommend it. It's a really nice way of getting to know people and having a closer circle of friends.
Well, just go and try it. And I think you'd probably be very surprised that it's not that learned, really.
I've got to know people that I possibly would not have normally have been as close to on a normal Sunday morning.
I've been going to a home group almost ever since I think we came to live in this village, which was 40 years ago. And I still find them valuable. I still get something out of them.
I think everybody ought to be part of a home group. It's a way of encouraging, and it really does keep you on track with your spiritual life. It encourages you within your Christian community, which is really important, and I think everyone should give it a go.
I think it's really good to get to know more people in the church, and house groups are a way of doing that as well. So it's kind of faith and friends.